What's up, people? Welcome back to another video. And God, guys, honestly, I was driving and I looked on my phone and I saw Arsenal are exploring a deal to sign Vinicius Jr. And I was thinking, okay, whatever. This must be AI. Do you know when you go on X? This is the thing I have about social media. You go on X and your initial thinking is it's AI. You're thinking, it's some guy pretending to be David Ornstein. Because last year, if you remember, we were linked with what's that Real Madrid guy on the right? Forgot it. His name has left my mind. I think he's a good player as well. That's the thing. Rodrigo. We were linked. There was the murmurs about Rodrigo, but it wasn't genuine, etc., etc., whatever. Vinicius Jr. Arsenal. Oh my! This ain't a bomber. Word to Curtis, man. This is a bomber clot. That's what that is. That is what that is. Honestly, guys, yeah. I said we should walk away from the Morgan Rogers deal, rightly so, because I believe for the position that we were looking to fill, he's not the right profile for what we need, and I don't think he's a player that raises the level. Vinicius Jr. Say what you want about his character, his inconsistencies. He's a player that immediately, without a shadow of a doubt, raises the level of this team to a whole other level. The sort of impact signing this would be close to Alexis Sanchez all those years ago when Sanchez came to Arsenal. You put him on that left side and he immediately becomes the best player in the team. He immediately becomes the best winger in the league. That's the caliber of winger that Vinicius is for me personally. In a winger market where it's short of quality, short of factor, Vinicius Jr. is a player that you're looking at and you're saying, yes, this is a guy that immediately raises the level of this team, regardless of whether it happens or not. My honest take, obviously they're saying they're exploring the level, the interest, they're exploring the possibility of the move. They're saying that it's been approved at all levels, which is a very good sign in the sense that Arsenal are looking to buy a player of a certain level of X factor, and he's the player that not only has that X factor in the sense that he's a moments player. He's someone that I'm looking at and I'm saying, yes, he's a winger, he's a left winger. You can maybe try him out on the right if you want to, but he's a maverick. He's a maverick, a player we've not had since Aubameyang, and you probably have to go back to Ozil days and then Sanchez. We've not had that sort of maverick in this team for such a long time. How will Arteta manage him? He has to work that out. But get this through the door. The fact that it's been approved at all levels tells me that Arsenal are seeing that there's a possibility of this deal. Obviously, Real Madrid are exploring Yan Diomande. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, to me, he looks like he learned to play football 2 days ago. I don't see why Madrid are trying to break their neck. But again, Madrid have always been doing this X Factor thing for so long. Vinicius Jr., how would you pitch an Arsenal move? I don't think it happens. I think, don't be surprised in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, he signs a new deal and then this kind of story kind of dies. Maybe this is a smoke screen. Maybe Arsenal looking to go for somewhere else and kind of throw everyone off the scent. That could also be a possibility. Vinicius is a top player. However, I just don't see it happening. For the main reason is, how do you sell Arsenal to a player that was 2 years ago was in conversations to win the Ballon d'Or? You know, he's leaving a team that he's won everything, and he's still at a ripe age as well. It's not like when Casemiro went to Man United, he was, coming into his 30s and all these things. You're taking a Vinicius Jr. who is at the prime age to kind of catapult himself further into his career. Obviously, the other thing is Madrid has superstars. There's superstars everywhere. So he's looking at it thinking, like, hold on, you know, I got Mbappe, I've got Bellingham here, I've got potentially Rodri, Bernardo Silva. And now Yan Diamonde. There's so many different areas this could potentially break for us, in the sense that Yan Diamonde is potentially going Madrid to start. You don't spend that kind of money on a player and you don't start him. And it's obvious that he's gonna go on that left side. So where does that leave Vini? And Vini's not gonna sit on the bench. A player of his caliber, of his profile, of his quality, is not just going to say, yeah, cool, you know what? I'll hold bench for a decent amount of time. If you get Vinicius Junior, he's going to be on the most amount of money. The wage structure will be completely broken. He's a player you sign, and then other players would potentially have to leave. So Martinelli potentially leaves, which I'm fine with. Kai Havertz potentially leaves, fine, and that breaks the mold a little bit. One thing I do know, and one thing I can tell by Vinicius Junior is he's a player that wants like an arm around the shoulder kind of player. He's a player that, you know, wants to be told, yeah, you're the guy. And you saw the best Vinicius Junior when Mbappe wasn't there, because everything was going through Vini. You know, Kroos was playing those balls in between Vini, and then when Bellingham came, it kind of became him and Vini. Now when Mbappe is there, they operate in the same spaces. Bring Yan Diamonde there, his importance and value in Madrid shrinks. And if he comes Arsenal, oh my lord, they would love him, and rightly so. They would adore and appreciate Vini, like they did with Alexis, like they did with Ozil before he went sour, like they did with Aubameyang. Arsenal have always appreciated players, and the thing is with Vini is that he will be loved at Arsenal. You know, he'll be a player that would be given, you know, that arm around his shoulder. The fans would be singing for you, they'll be dancing for you, and potentially a change of environment is possibly where you thrive. He doesn't go Germany, and if he goes Germany, the only viable option is Bayern Munich. Nothing really happens there. PSG, there's Kvaratskhelia there, and all these guys. He doesn't go there. Barca, he's not going. Atletico Madrid, they don't have the financial structure to pull that kind of deal off. And even if they did, he's 100% not going there. So the other move is the Premier League. Now you look at the Premier League. Does he go City? Potentially City. If you think about the wing, who's City's left wing? Doku, Semenyo. Does he go City? Potentially can go City. Does he go United? Potentially. Does he go Liverpool? Potentially. Arsenal, obviously. Spurs, no. Chelsea, I don't see it. So there's like 3 or 4 clubs within the Premier League that, mate, there's a door there for you. There's a door there for you. And for me, Arsenal, you got to put your hat in there. I personally don't think it happens because of the structure, the deal. How would you structure this deal, and how much are you paying? Because if you're paying about 117 for someone like Morgan Rogers, Vinicius is about 100 and 115, 120. For me, I'm looking at it this way, right? If this deal has been approved at all levels within the board, then there must have been some level of proposal that would have had to go into place for them to look like and say, yeah, cool, let's give it a go ahead and let's start looking to explore this deal. They're saying it's early, but if you're exploring this deal, you're obviously going into that deal with a number in mind, and how far up you're willing to go. Arsenal not going to go in there thinking, yeah, Vinicius Junior, I reckon 80 mil will do it. I very much doubt it. If it's been approved at all levels, I doubt that not a single board member within our Arsenal team would have said, You know what? 80 mil does it, you know. I reckon you can get it from 80 mil. No. Like, guys, come on. If you've worked in corporates, worked in all these sort of environments, to propose something, to propose an idea or a player for this instance, there must have been a valuation that the board would have looked at and said, I reckon we start here and we end here. And if we can meet somewhere in the middle, perfect. If we end up reaching at the top with a little bit of wiggle room, that's absolutely fine. Everything would have definitely been explored. They would have definitely looked at the structure in terms of his wages, where does he fit, all these things. The fact that they're saying it's been explored, it's been approved at all levels, tells you that Arsenal are clearly willing to break the wage structure first and foremost, and they're potentially looking to break the transfer fee as well. Do I think he breaks the transfer fee within the Morgan Rogers deal? Potentially, but you also have to look at Madrid on the other hand. Their cards are not, they haven't got all the cards to play with, right? He's got 2 years left on his current deal. They're saying that he hasn't renewed his current contract. They've tried to negotiate new deals. It hasn't happened. You also have to look at the politics between Vinicius and Mourinho. If you remember the Benfica game a couple months ago in the Champions League, and now Mourinho is the head coach at Madrid. That potentially obviously breaks the kind of trust there and the relationship there. And also you're looking at Yan Diamonde. It's so obvious where this guy is going to play, and that's the left. And Vini is not going to go on the right. He's just not. Like, he's not going to compromise his whole playing style just to accommodate someone who just burst onto the scene less than 18 months ago. And to me, if he signs for Madrid, give him 12 months and he's out the door, because I just don't think he's a player. He's that level. He's at that level where you're thinking, yeah, let's sign Real Madrid. No, I just don't think he's that level. But that helps us, because if he goes Madrid, that opens the door for Vinicius. It's early doors. I think Arsenal have to try and pursue this. How does this affect Julian Alvarez? Because the way Berta does his deals, this wiggling the plates thing, balancing all dishes and all these things, you can't really do this with this deal, because you can't. I just don't envisage a world where you're telling Vinicius Junior, yeah, okay, we've agreed personal terms, give us a couple weeks whilst we're trying to see what Rashford is saying, for example. No, you offer me that contract, we agree personal terms, get the deal done. None of this wiggling the plate stuff. How does this affect Julian Alvarez in terms of the structure, in terms of the transfer fee? How much money do we have for both? I don't know. If we have Vinicius Junior and Julian Alvarez, boy. On the other hand, is this Vinicius thing a smokescreen to try and entice Julian Alvarez? Maybe he's saying, well, I need to see a level of ambition from you guys, because if I'm coming to Arsenal, I need to know I'm going to be playing with some top players. And maybe they said, okay, look, you'll be playing some top players. We got Vinicius Junior coming, and all these sort of guys. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's a deal for Vinicius Junior and Julian Alvarez. But if you can get Julian Alvarez and Vinicius, oh my God, he's immediately the best winger in the league if he comes here. Do I see it happening? No. Would I want Vini to come Arsenal? Yes. Do I believe Vini is the best player in the world at this moment in time? He's definitely the tier below. If we're being honest, the tier above is your Elise, your Kvaratskhelia, your Mbappe's. Maybe in some aspects you put him in that tier as well, but he's not far off. And you put him in a team where everything goes through him, you're cooking. Because at Madrid, Mbappe's there, Bellingham is there, you've got all these superstars, so it's not necessarily that everything goes through you, but you know, you're the main guy. And also you have to think about it this way: there's a lot of Brazilian contingencies here at Arsenal, and there's Brazilian restaurants in London as well. Like, guys, how could we forget? But yeah, there's a lot of Brazilian contingencies. There's Gabriel, there's Martinelli, and potentially Bruno G as well coming in. So there's definitely players here. I think Martinelli goes, which is fine. Bruno G comes in. Your international teammates are there. All of a sudden, this is looking a bit different now. So you won't be out of touch when you come here. So that's my thing. And even if you know, some of them leave, who are some Brazilians who are playing in London? You got Estevao at Chelsea. You got some close by friends here and there, man. You got Alisson. Shit, he's in Liverpool. You got Joao Pedro. You know, you've got some people, guys, and you got some of the Portuguese guys as well. Like, obviously same language. Like, guys, come on. I don't think it happens, but if this happens, I'm getting a Vinicius Junior shirt at the back of my shirt, because this is a player that just significant upgrade. And also it kind of helps Solis in a bit, because if Solis comes in as our only winger option, boy, we're looking at you like you're the £100 million signing. But if you bring Vinicius Junior in, it kind of releases the pressure off Solis a little bit. He doesn't have to do much. To be fair, he only paid for 35 million, but you know, the pressure and the expectation for Solis kind of reduces a little bit, because you've brought in a player who's immediately going to play above you. So yeah, let's see if that deal gets done. Do I see it happening? No. I think it might just be a smokescreen for his agent to try and get Madrid to get that contract signed and delivered. I don't think it's... but is it potentially... It's just his agent, but they're saying it's been approved at all levels. So Arsenal are actually exploring this. But I think obviously this might be one of those signings where it's an end of the summer kind of thing. I don't think it happens in the next week or two. This is something that potentially may drag towards the end of the summer. That's what I think happens. But I'll leave it, guys. I'll leave it there, guys. The Bruno G thing, yeah, guys. Maybe that will make Bruno hurry up, because he says, "Oh, Vini's coming. I'm trying to go there." So we'll see how that happens. But yeah, I'll leave this here, and let's see how this deal and this move kind of nurtures in the next coming weeks and months. But I'll leave it there, guys.